I try to have a healthy balance of work and play on my iPad. So when it is time to actually get things done, there are a few things that I do to increase my productivity and work output. My iPad is without a doubt my most used piece of technology, mostly because of its versatility in helping me with my workflow and absolutely dusting people in COD Mobile. Some of these are incredibly simple, and some of these you might not even know the iPad can do. Here are some of my personal favorite iPad mini hacks for productivity. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and please drool on the subscribe button's pillow. Let's get started. Elevate to make like a keyboard. This is particularly easy if you have the Smart Folio case, but it's not necessary. And I wasn't kidding when I said some of these are incredibly obvious or incredibly simple. So much so that I wasn't sure if this was worth mentioning. I bring my iPad with me almost everywhere, and oftentimes that means that I end up responding to emails, writing, or just getting some type of work done when I'm out. Having it slightly elevated like this makes it feel like I'm typing on an actual keyboard. And if I just look at the size of it, it's almost the size of a mini keyboard in itself. This makes typing on here much less agonizing, and it might not be a game changer when it comes to productivity on the iPad, but anything to make working on here a little bit more comfortable is definitely worth mentioning, in my opinion. As great as iPad productivity is, and as much as I'd love to be able to do everything on my iPad, there are still a few powerful apps that only work on my Mac. So I still do use my laptop's Chrome browser to answer all my emails and do most work. And in my Chrome browser is Magical AI. It's becoming more evident how much AI can increase productivity, but more importantly, streamline the redundant or tedious tasks. Magical is a free AI tool for Chrome that's sponsoring this video, and I've had the chance to use for the past few weeks to save a lot of time and mental energy. My personal favorite feature that Magical offers is the AI template, where in my specific use case, I've created a trigger that, when typed, fills out an entire response that I've pre-written, either by myself or AI assisted. This is great if you just have a lot of emails where you generally respond the same thing. There's of course an AI assistant right there when I need something typed out that I don't have a pre-written template for. And to activate it, I just have to hit / twice. There's also a few other extremely useful features like auto data entry, which I imagine is a complete game changer if you're doing that right now without AI assistance. Magical pretty much takes care of all the work I don't like doing, like creating messages from scratch, updating forms instantly, and just automating annoying tasks everywhere at any time. Once again, Magical is completely free to download and use, and there's over 500,000 current users, so it's safe to say some people find it pretty useful. Go to getmagical.com to get started. I'll also have a link in the description box if you're interested in checking them out. Split screen. Easily one of my favorite features to use is split screen. Split screen for me makes multitasking simple and effective because to me it's almost like having two screens. I use this a lot specifically when I have the Notes app open on half the screen and maybe something like Spotify or Safari on the other. This also really comes in handy when I have my bank account open on one side and my investments on the other to calculate any moves I might want to make. I'm not a student, but I have heard of people watching lectures on one side and taking notes on the other. And if you are a student, I just imagine that being extremely useful. Another thing is that the split screen doesn't mean it has to be split 50-50 right down the middle. I usually make some adjustments and make the screen bigger, that of the app I want to prioritize. So when I'm using this feature, I will have a primary side that I'm working on, and the secondary side is where I'm spending a little bit less attention and effort. Background sounds. This is something I'm almost positive most people haven't even heard about. I definitely didn't know it was on my iPad or even my phone for the longest time. If I go into accessibilities, audio, visual, there's this neat little feature called background sounds. And what I like to think of it as is one of those sound machines that helps you fall asleep. It just plays a constant loop of ocean sounds, rain sounds, and a few others in the background of whatever you're doing. I guess if you're like me and sometimes you don't want it to be silent, but you also don't want music, this is something nice to just break that silence subtly. There's not a whole lot to choose from, but you don't need any type of internet to use this, and it comes at no extra cost. It's just built in to my iPad. I've used it while reading a few times and just found it pretty nice. Quick note. Notes is absolutely my favorite way to make a quick to-do list or to write something down on the fly that I need to remember. So something I'm able to do right from the home screen is swipe up from the bottom right corner, and I'm able to quickly make a note from wherever I am and have it save along with my other notes. And a fun fact here, if you do the same thing from the bottom left corner, it takes a screenshot, which is much less annoying than having to press the physical buttons, which is usually a pain in the ass. I can't imagine anyone is actually busy enough to take the extra millisecond and just go to the Notes app. But I have found myself using it a couple of times, and I still think it's a convenient productivity feature worth mentioning. Create a focus mode. Using a focus mode allows me to create a layout for my iPad that I only use for certain instances or when I'm doing specific things. For example, my work focus mode only allows notifications from people and apps that I've permitted, as well as even change the entire setup of my home screen and my lock screen. I have one on my phone as well that's a sleep focus mode. That mode basically just silences all notifications and turns my background into a plain black background. I have a focus mode dedicated to the skate park. Spotify is the only app that's actively visible. I think the beauty of having this tool is that it can be highly customized according to our unique individual daily routines. Like there's even a gaming focus mode preset. God forbid someone bothered you while you were playing Minecraft. Split keyboard and keyboard shortcuts. Unfortunately, I don't have the hand size of Boban Morjanovic, so occasionally I'm susceptible to hand cramps when typing on the iPad. Thankfully, there's the split keyboard feature to protect my hands. I can split the keyboard in half and easily move it anywhere on the screen. As far as keyboard shortcuts go, a really handy feature I discovered on accident is the swipe down key. Instead of alternating between keyboards, I can just swipe down to access the secondary key. Neat. Make use of USBC port. Having USB-C port has saved me several times on my iPad mini. I've been able to plug in my USB-C hub that's normally for my laptop to dump footage from a memory card to my iPad in a pinch, plug this into a TV to watch a movie, and even use a mouse. I know this might look ridiculous, but this has no business feeling so natural. I can't imagine a scenario where I would actually use my mouse with an iPad, but hey, it's possible. I've been able to plug in my external drive here to airdrop documents to people at work if I've had to, or scan things into a PDF from the iPad and just save it to my external drive. Having USB-C port has really made my iPad mini sort of a Swiss Army knife among my workflow. My iPad has really become an essential part of my productivity, and these were just a few of the most helpful ways I get the most out of it that I thought were worth mentioning. Once the new update comes out, I plan on doing an updated full iPad mini setup, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, as always, I appreciate the time you spent here and I appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.